Good morning. Today is Wednesday, May 14th. I'm Doug Smith, and this is Filibustered Headlines Daily Livestream. Today, we are going to be touching on President Trump's visit to Saudi Arabia, Judge Haynes' ruling in favor of President Trump's immigration actions, what Marco Rubio is doing in Turkey, and lastly, a little bit of crypto news. So, the main topic for today is President Trump. He's causing quite the stir with his historic visit to Saudi Arabia. And having received a royal reception yesterday, Trump signed an agreement with Saudi Prince Mohammed bin Salman that secures over $600 billion worth of investments into the United States. This agreement includes $20 billion toward AI data centers, $80 billion toward cutting-edge transformative technologies in both countries, and according to the White House, nearly $142 billion providing Saudi Arabia with state-of-the-art warfighting equipment and services from over a dozen U.S. defense firms. The $142 billion is the largest defense cooperation agreement that the U.S. has ever done. Later that evening, the Saudis hosted a dinner in honor of President Trump and then proceeded to the Saudi-U.S. Investment Forum, where President Trump was given the floor to speak, and he took the opportunity to praise the Saudis while also taking a slight jab at the left and previous administrations, saying, quote, "It's crucial for the wider world to know this great transformation has not come from Western intervention or flying people in beautiful planes giving you lectures on how to live and how to govern your own affairs. The gleaming marbles of Riyadh and Abu Dhabi were not created by the so-called nation builders, neocons, or liberal nonprofits like those who spent trillions and trillions of dollars failing to develop Kabul, Baghdad, so many other cities. Instead, the birth of a modern Middle East has been brought by the people of the region themselves. In the end, the so-called nation builders wrecked far more nations than they built, and the interventionalists were intervening in complex societies that they did not even understand themselves." So tomorrow, you guys need to join in with us at 9:30 for our live stream, because we are going to be covering the Saudi Arabia visit in great detail. Troy is going to be leading us on a conversation about not only what just happened with this last trip, but also Trump's previous visit to Saudi Arabia and how it all ties in together. So just this morning, while still in Saudi Arabia, President Trump announced plans to lift sanctions on Syria in order to give the new government a chance at greatness. Trump said, "It's their time to shine. Good luck, Syria. Show us something very special." A Syrian minister says that the U.S. has a chance to make a historic peace deal in Syria. The UN responded positively to the news, but Israel is warning Trump against making ties with Syria's Islamist president Ahmad al-Sharaa, who's a former al-Qaeda commander. Next up on Trump's docket is a visit to Qatar, where he has already landed just this morning. And I have forgotten to give you guys all of the tabs. You'll have to forgive me. It's my first time. So, okay. Trump announced his plans to lift punishing sanctions on Syria. There we go. We already covered that. And then we're in Qatar now. All right. And then Trump visits Qatar as country's jet offer puts spotlight on nation's growing influence in Washington. Okay. So now we're awaiting Trump's thoughts on this big, beautiful jet and whether or not he will indeed actually accept the gift from Qatar as a replacement for Air Force One. The offer from the Qatari government is not yet finalized. The gift would serve as Air Force One temporarily, and it would be gifted to the Trump Presidential Library at the end of his term. Trump said, "I thought it was a beautiful gesture. Some are concerned that we shouldn't be accepting gifts to the Defense Department," which seems kind of like a logical thing to me, "but because it could cost hundreds of millions or even $1 billion just to upgrade it to be ready for use, which of course would be handed down to us, the taxpayer." A last note on the Saudi Arabia visit. Commenters on social media were in a frenzy criticizing Trump for refusing a cup of coffee at the first meeting with the Saudi prince, with some on the left calling it just straight up rude, and then some on the very far right suggesting that it could be some type of clandestine chess move. But I think we all need to just take a step back and consider the fact that Trump just actually doesn't drink coffee and doesn't plan on doing so anytime soon. So sometimes things really are just that simple. U.S. District Judge Stephanie Haynes has ruled that the president can indeed remove terrorists via the Alien Enemies Act, which I didn't know was a thing, but now you do too. This comes on the heels of the recent immigration debacle over the now notorious Kilmar Abrego Garcia, who was diverted due process and sent to a violent prison in El Salvador. That case is still ongoing. This judge argued in favor of the deportation, but she did make mention that the administration did not provide sufficient notice to the deportees before removing them. So the story is still developing, and as of now, it appears that there will be no retroactive action to amend the lack of sufficient notice to deportees. Next up, we've got Marco Rubio. Secretary of State Marco Rubio will be visiting Turkey to oversee peace talks between Ukraine and Russia. President Trump wanted to go, but he just decided to go ahead and send Rubio because he clearly has a very heavy calendar at the moment. And Trump mentioned that the talks likely won't happen until Thursday, which is tomorrow. And he has high hopes that things are going to go well. Rubio has welcomed the possibility of an immediate ceasefire, but we'll see if that actually happens. It appears as though Putin has made mention that before ceasefire talks, he wants to actually just talk about who's really at fault here. So we'll see if that even ends up happening. And then the Ukrainian President Zelensky agreed to attend, but it is unclear whether or not Russian President Putin will do so. Russia's already rejected a recent ceasefire plan proposed by Ukraine on Monday, and they continued their strikes this week while leading up to the meeting in Turkey. Zelensky also invited Trump to attend, which is kind of hilarious to me if you consider their most recent meeting in the White House. And one of my favorite topics, as you guys might have figured out by now, Dubai partners with Crypto.com to accept payments through the digital platform. The agreement allows government services to be paid with large cap cryptocurrencies, which is Bitcoin, Ethereum, and XRP. Those are the top three. There are other large cap ones, but these are the main ones that will be used for payment processes. These types of costs can be paid for with crypto, and that includes visa fees, licensing, and utilities, which I find it awfully interesting that the Dubai government is very willing to go ahead and accept as much crypto as they can from their people. We'll see how that transfer takes place whenever it does happen. Dubai is on the fast route to a cashless society, and they're about 90% there. They say that they will get there by 2026, and this is just one of the biggest next steps toward that goal. And lastly, I have a little fun thing for you guys. Clearly, I've also blazed through this. I didn't have as much commentary as I thought I might, but the EPA has made one major announcement recently, and that is to eliminate the start-stop function in vehicles, giving one of the most succinct and accurate explanations in news history, saying, quote, "Everyone hates it. Now it's your turn, IRS." Thanks for tuning in. We will see you guys next time.